Hey, this is Dr. Mike from Animal House Radio. You know, nutrition is the cornerstone of animal health. So check out feedingisbelieving.ca. It's not a miracle. It's the power of precise nutrition.
Back on Animal House Radio on Latinos Voices, CHHA 1610 AM. Thank you so much to Carrie Ann Inaba. I've had trouble all week saying that name, but you know what? She's a fantastic interview. I'm so glad that she came on the show, and we are going to have some more great celebrities coming on this program on behalf of PETA in the next. This is PETA month.
Right.
This is, you know what? This is PETA year, okay? Everybody in this country, everybody worldwide needs to really look at PETA's website and actually see the issues at hand, because there are a lot of issues, from puppy mills, some great campaigns, and you know what? If you don't know the information, you're just as ignorant as the people out there that are doing the stuff. So you have to learn the information and see the real stuff that is going on, because just because you don't see it and you don't think it's there, doesn't give you an excuse when you hear it in the news. Actually, some sad news to pass on. A neighbor of mine by the name of Leo lost his animal today, Princess, who was, I believe, 17 years of age. And my condolences, and Animal House Radio condolences to the family of Leo and to that great dog. Do a little segment called The News and the Pet News. I read this article and I was shocked. Disgusting. And this happens in our own backyard in Canada. And the worst thing about it happened in the Northwest Territories. Now, this person who's been selling paintings for years to Queen Elizabeth.
Yep. To the Pope.
To the Pope. You know, we can't say that they support this because obviously they didn't know about this. After 44 slayed dogs, including a dozen puppies, were found malnourished and had... Okay, I can't speak. That's how upset I am, okay? These animals were found in such horrific shape, all 44 of them had to be put down by the Society and the Humane Society. A local veterinarian and RCMP officer said that this was almost the most horrific thing they've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Now, we've seen stuff and we've heard stuff about puppy mills, but to have a situation like this, I mean, it is. Go on your computer. Type renowned Dean artist under investigation over neglected sled dogs. Read this article. You will absolutely be horrified. Tell me about a sled dog, because these dogs are trained completely different. These dogs are bred different. These dogs are dogs that you can say they survive in that environment.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening, Aaron, in the north is a lot of these sled dogs are not being used anymore because people are using other forms of transportation. So what ends up happening is a lot of these guys are sitting around and people are neglecting them. And so that ends up being a problem, and we're seeing that a lot up north, and this is just one example of what's happening, and that's happening up in the Northwest Territories. But, you know, sled dogs are now only used for competition. They're really not used anymore as a mode of transportation.
Now, did you want? We haven't heard a statement from Queen Elizabeth, and we have not heard a statement from the Pope. And this is something where I think I
don't think we will, but
I think I honestly, this is my opinion, and I think a lot of people would share this opinion. You know, the Queen Elizabeth and the Pope have been purchasing this artist painting for years, and I think that there should be a statement on that end from the Pope or from Queen Elizabeth, basically saying, you know what, we had no idea that this was going on, but if we knew, we would have never purchased, and you know what, from now on we are taking all the paintings down. So, you know what? If you agree with me or disagree, I don't think anybody really can disagree with this. So give us a phone call here at the radio station, 416-785-0680, 416-785-0680. And once again, do you think that Queen Elizabeth and the Pope should retract and pull down all the paintings that they have purchased? This week's featured topic is spoiled dogs. Spoiled dogs.
Well, I thought we'd bring this segment up because there's an absolute great new movie I hear about, just kidding, called Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And I thought we'd do this in celebration of that movie. Chihuahuas happen to be lovely little pets. All dogs under the poundage of 15 would be considered in this spoiled dog category, because what I find in my practice is that most people who get these little dogs love to spoil them. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with spoiling your dog. I think people need to realize that sometimes, even with children, when we overspoil them, that becomes a problem. So,
give me an example of spoiling your dog.
Well, the classic example of spoiling your dog is I'm a firm believer that nothing in life is free. We have to work for everything that we accumulate. Dogs get their food for free, they get their shelter for free, they get their toys for free, they get carried around for free. They essentially don't work for anything. And that's fine and dandy for a lot of the larger dogs because they tend to have a personality that they create their own sort of way of life. But little dogs tend to like to really enjoy that kind of spoiling. And what can happen sometimes is you get behavior problems. So if you are an owner out there that has a dog that's under 15 pounds, here are the signs that you may have a spoiled dog. A, you have a dog that's really nice to you guys when he wants to be or she wants to be, but sometimes when you take away his toys or his food, he will growl at you or become aggressive. Second type of spoiled dog would be a little dog who's wonderful with the family, but when you take him to the veterinarian, he wants to eat the veterinarian's hand. See a lot of those guys every day.
Is that why you have a Band-Aid?
Not really. And the third type is the kind of a dog who is, again, very wonderful with the family, but when visitors come over, is extremely heavy barker, doesn't like anybody to come near him. Those are the classic examples of spoiled dogs. The Webster's Dictionary's definition of spoiled is to impair the disposition or character by overindulgence and excessive praise. And I think it's no different with children. If you overindulge them and give them excessive praise, they don't ever come up with their own type of personality. They come up with the type of personality you're giving them. And they tend to end up doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And one of those common ones is becoming aggressive with strangers.
No.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I've got a few pointers for those people out there who fall into those three categories about spoiling your dog. First of all, again, remember nothing in life is free. Number one, make your dog work for food and make your dog work for his treats. That doesn't mean you have to abuse them in any way, shape, or form. It just means get them to sit, get them to do a command, then they get their food. And what they start to realize is that you are in control of the food, not them. Second thing is, and I know a lot of you are going to be really upset about this, is don't pick up little dogs all the time.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's probably the worst thing you can do, because what that ends up doing is it raises their status, and all of a sudden they think they're the boss, the alpha dog, and that's a problem.
But what about if it's a big dog, like my dog Romeo?
Do you ever lift Romeo up?
I do.
Okay.
He's heavy.
But not often, right?
No, but when he was a puppy, I'd carry him everywhere. Now, if it's a big dog and you're lifting up the big dog as a puppy,
right?
So a dog who's going to be 80 pounds in 2 years, lifting him up and doing that as a puppy, is that going to have the same effect by spoiling the dog? Or is it a different trend because it's a bigger dog regardless?
It tends to be a different trend because, again, we don't lift them up too low. By the time your dog hit 6 months, I'm sure Romeo was a little too big to just go be lifting up every second. There are people that carry their dogs, little chihuahuas, around in a bag 24 hours a day, it seems. They never hit the floor. I know a few dogs in my practice that never touch the floor, it seems.
Really?
Yep. They come in the owner's arms, they come in the room in the owner's arms. The final thing you want to do is you don't want to play with them when they want to be played with. I'm saying you should play with your dog, but maybe when they ask you to play, just ignore them for a minute, and then when they're not asking you to play, then you go and play with them. And this way they realize that you're wanting to play with them as opposed to you always playing with them when they want to be played with. So with some simple things, and of course the most simple thing is never ever reward your puppy for being aggressive.
How is the interaction between dogs or any animal that are spoiled between other dogs? Do you see that there is a correlation between, these dogs kind of get into attacks, they growl, they attack more at other dogs? Do you see that because they're spoiled? Well,
it's amazing. You would be amazed at how many little dogs in my exam room or in my front office, that little chihuahuas that will go after huge Rottweilers. And I know what they're thinking. I've got my mommy and my daddy here to protect me. It's the three of us against you.
Really?
You get that dog alone with the German Shepherd, it's a whole different ballgame. It's no different than children when they usually are more misbehaved around their parents, and as soon as they go to someone else's house, all of a sudden they're the best behaved kids on the planet.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody to back them up. I find that's a very common problem with little dogs. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. If you, once again, have a question or comment for any of these topics that we're talking about, give us a call right now, 416-785-0680.
Hi, this is Dr. Mike on Animal House Radio, encouraging all of our listeners to make sure that your pets are all up to date on their current vaccinations.
If you have a product or service and are interested in advertising at Animal House Radio, please call 416-662-9291. That's 416-662-9291. Or alternatively, you can reach us at www.animalhouseradio.com.